Hi FBC kids, and welcome back to our museum. Now this week I'm going to show you some Ripley's Believe It or Not exhibits. Now this is a museum that has multiple locations. I think there are like 31 around the world, and they feature some odd, unusual, bizarre art, animals, people, and places that might be a little hard to believe, but in fact are very real and very true. There's one in St. Augustine, if any of you have been there, right next to kind of the fort area. Really cool. Anyway, so there are some really cool people in exhibits, and they've got some really cool talents, I guess, maybe weird, unusual gifts and such. So I want to tell you a little bit about Ava Vogel, who can run and jump like a horse. Jorge Ivan Latorre Robles has super elastic skin that allows him to bend and fit inside of a suitcase. Which, I'm claustrophobic, so just the thought of that is freaking me out a little bit, but I think that's really cool too. And Jane Labowich has the ability and the talent, I guess, to make really cool Etch-a-Sketch art, really detailed. And when I play an Etch-a-Sketch, I can barely get the little piece to move around in there, and I can't even imagine making like artwork out of it. So cool. So I want to show you some pictures of some really cool talents and some really cool exhibits that are at Ripley's. Now today at our museum here at First Baptist, today's exhibit features you. I want to see your weird, unusual, or odd talent. I do. I for real do. Can you show me? You don't think you have one? Well, maybe we can figure it out together. I was thinking about my unusual or odd talent, and I don't think I have one either, but I'm gonna... Can you roll your tongue? I think that's the only odd talent I have. I used to be able to bend my fingers back really far, but not recently. Anyway, pretty cool, right? Now, our exhibits this week are going to feature tasting. So there are a few different ingredients we might be trying. I have a little bit of a treat later. We're going to talk about the ingredients. But some ingredients that we need for our lesson today are music, dancing, our Bibles, and you. So let's get started with some music, and I'll see you right back with our Bibles.
1, 2, 3. God made bananas and the trees that hold the oranges and apples we eat. God made the coconut and the berries, yummy grapes and watermelon treats. God made this world to see. He gives every good thing. Taste and see that the Lord is good, so good, so good. Taste and see that the Lord is good, so good, so good. God made the mountains and the breeze, the colors of the rainbow we see. God made the palm trees and flamingos, the giraffes and even hippos. God made this world we see. He gives every good thing. Taste and see that the Lord is good, so good, so good. Taste and see that the Lord is good, so good, so good. God made the jungle and the country, the bunnies and the puppies and bees. God made the waves roll in the ocean. He makes us giggle and the lion roar.
Sophie, and this is Ask, Seek, Knock from Matthew 7. We're going to start today with the verse.
I'm reading my B.I.B. early, and this is what it says to me. It tells me that I'm never ever alone. I'm learning how Jesus came down to us and gave his best. Without a doubt, the best friend you'll ever know. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. Oh, oh.
Great job, everyone. Now you know Ask, Seek, Knock.
I'm so glad you're here today because I'm going to tell you a little bit. I was not feeling very excited this week. I was feeling very tired, very stressed out, and just a little bit grumpy. So then I, had to get ready for church, and I was getting ready for the lesson, and I was making sure we had all our ingredients for today's tasting lessons, and I was getting our Bibles out to read our story, and I just stopped because I was so excited to see that our Bible story today is my favorite miracle ever, always, forever. It's my favorite story of Jesus performing a miracle, and I want to share it with you. So it's in the book of John. I'm going to read just a couple verses from 5 because I think it helps us with our lesson today, and then we're going to go down to chapter 6. Now, we've been talking about John the Baptist, Jesus. In our first week, we talked about how we can see God through Jesus because we know that the Word was in the beginning, and the Word was the beginning. Remember, that was Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit all at the beginning of creation together. Okay, so we can see God through Jesus and hit Jesus' actions. And then we talked about that we can hear God's voice if we listen, because we talked about how Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist and God spoke out from the heavens. So just like we're paying attention to our scriptures and our Bible and our teachings, we can listen to God's voice speaking out to us, just like he spoke out to the heavens and told Jesus he was proud of him. He was dearly loved. Love that part too. Okay, so I want to show a little bit from 5 because we know that John the Baptist is an arrow that points to Jesus and Jesus is a reflection of God. So let's read this verse 35 in chapter 5. And it says, John, this is Jesus talking, John was like a burning and shining lamp, and you were excited about his message. But I have a far greater witness than John, my teachings and my miracles. The Father gave me these works to accomplish, and they prove that he sent me. So we're talking about Jesus' miracles because they are proof of God, his power, his awesome. It's ways that we can experience God through learning about Jesus here on earth. And now we're going to skip down to chapter 6 and actually talk about a miracle that Jesus performs that involves our sense of taste, a different way to experience God. Now, Jesus was teaching and preaching and going around. He had this huge group of people following him around, okay? So he crossed over to the Sea of Galilee, also known as the Sea of Tiberias, but this crowd kept following him everywhere he went. It said that the men alone in the crowd numbered 5,000, so there were probably many more than that following Jesus. So Jesus saw this huge crowd of people, okay? And he looked to his disciples and he said, how are we going to feed them? Now, Jesus already knew the answer to this question, but he was kind of seeing what his disciples might think. And the disciples were like, we don't know what to do. Even if we worked for a whole month, we wouldn't have enough money to buy enough food for all these people. And so Jesus tells his disciples, go make sure everyone sits down. Get comfy. And this is what Jesus does. So Jesus tells everyone to sit down in verse 10 of chapter 6. And so they all sat down on the grassy slopes, and the men alone numbered 5,000. So there's also this little boy there that Jesus saw, and he had 5 loaves of barley bread, so 5 barley loaves, and 2 fish. That was his lunch for the day. Then Jesus took these loaves, just 5 of them, and he gave thanks to God, and he distributed them out to the people. That means he passed them all out. He broke them down, passed them all out. And afterwards, he did the same with the fish. So he thanked God for it, and he passed it out to the people. And they all ate as much as they wanted. Now, I like food. I like to eat. Can you imagine trying to get enough food for more than 5,000 people? Crazy amount. And Jesus looked at 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. And we're going to see just how much he was able to make that work. And after everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, "Now gather the leftovers so that nothing is wasted." So they picked up the pieces and they filled 12 baskets. 12 baskets with scraps left by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves. And when the people saw him do this miraculous sign, they exclaimed, "Surely he is the prophet we have been expecting." Okay, so remember how people kept asking John the Baptist if he was the Messiah? No, his job was to show people to Jesus. And Jesus said his miracles and his actions were going to be a reflection of God. They were going to be his testimony that he was God's son. And guess what? They were. The people looked at this miracle that Jesus performed and they said, "This is him. This is the Messiah, the Savior of the world. He's right here." And Jesus' miracles were amazing. They still are. I'm still amazed by them. Almost unbelievable. But what Jesus did was very, very real and very, very powerful. We know because we just read it in the Bible. We know what's in here. It's true. We can believe it. They literally tasted the awesomeness of Jesus. I'm speechless. It just goes to show you that Jesus gives us a taste of God's power, which, dun-dun-dun-dun, is our big idea for this week. Can you say it with me? Jesus gives us a taste of God's power. All right, so remember that little cake I was keeping safe down here? Okay, I'm going to read some verses, then we're going to talk a little bit about it. Psalm 34, verses 8 and 9 say, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you godly people. For those who fear him will have all that they need." I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited that God gives me all that we need. All that I need. And let's talk about that. It's different for everybody. It looks different for everybody. And we need to pay some serious attention to things that we actually need versus things that we want. But I want to talk about the words taste and see that the author uses. We talked about taste this week, but it's like the author's inviting us to come and take a closer inspection, a closer look at God's and a relationship with him to enjoy God. What do you think it means to take refuge in God? We can trust in God to help us, to protect us, to be there for us no matter what. But what's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about the word fear? Usually we're scared. Now, God doesn't want us to be scared or to run away from God. Instead, to fear God means to have a lot of respect for God and to worship only God because God is so great and so powerful. I mean, he literally made it rain, fire from the heavens, boil up from the ground, destroyed cities, created the whole world. I don't know about you, but if someone could just create an entire universe, I'd be pretty fearful of how powerful they were, right? That's God. Now, when we do this, we depend on God to meet our needs so that we lack nothing. These verses talk about having a close and personal relationship with God. So maybe think about it this way. Maybe a shop that makes some cakes, maybe a cake shop or a bakery. Okay, so this little cake here, it smells so good. It's got chocolate icing on it, but I know that there's also some vanilla cream icing on the inside. It's a chocolate cake that's all rolled up. But if I was just hearing about it, maybe I'm not a big fan of chocolate, so I wouldn't be really convinced that it was good unless I was 100% sure. So, I think I should have a taste to make sure I really like it. What do you think? I think so too. Now I'm 100% sure. It's so delicious. I mean, I'm completely convinced that I have tasted and I have seen this donut for myself. It's the same with God. We can read about the things that Jesus did, and we can see that Jesus gives us a taste of God's power. Then we can take that a step further by having a closer relationship with God where we can trust God under all circumstances, whether they're good or bad, because we know that, guess what? There are some bad circumstances sometimes. God uses God's power for good, like protecting us, comforting us, and showing us how much God loves us. And when we depend on God in these ways, it opens us up to experiencing God and his power in a whole new level, where we truly get to taste and see that God is good. All right, excuse me a minute. We're going to go finish this. Well, I'm really glad we did this today because I feel great having spent time with you, worshiping, dancing, singing, reading about how awesome God is, spending time in my favorite miracle, to even go back and read again how awesome and powerful God is. So, what was the problem that the group of people following Jesus faced? They were hungry, right? What did Jesus do for them? What miracle is it that Jesus performed? Yeah. And remember how we talked about in Psalm 34 that we can taste and see that the Lord is good? Yeah. What do you think it means to do all those things? What do you think it means for you to do some of those things? What are some ways that we can experience God's power today? Don't forget, we're memorizing Jeremiah 29:13, which says, "You will seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all of your heart." Jeremiah 29:13. In fact, I believe we have a friend help us with some motions. Let's go check it out.
Jeremiah 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart.
Wonderful. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week. Will you join me in a word of prayer as we close? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for Jesus and the ability that we have to taste the power that you have given him and the power that you hold, Heavenly Father. We know that even when, especially when we are weak, you are strong for us. And we know that there's so much power to experience when we lean in and trust you, Lord. I thank you for these kids and their families. I thank you for this area where we can meet and worship and praise. And I thank you for the little lives that I have experienced and interacted with this week that have asked about you, Lord. You just continue to bless and bless and bless. And I'm so speechlessly thankful for you. I ask that you continue to bless, Lord, and to give us strength and that we can experience the power that you hold. In your holy and precious name, I pray. Amen. All right, I will see you next week. There's a really fun one next week, and I can't wait. So don't forget to taste and see God's power this week and learn that God is good. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.